Okay, guys, welcome. Sorry, we had a few technical issues. I tell you now, we are moving into a new world. Everything's changing. I go through the same things as you guys do, but I'm so glad to be persistent. And we are here live streaming into the Freedom Series portal, and we're also live into the Dynamite Effect. And my goodness, I have got so much incredible information here and ready to share with you over these next 5 days. Now, I want to kind of give you a bit of an idea of what the Freedom Series is all about, what these 5 days are going to do for you, and ultimately for us to kind of get to know each other and build an understanding of how you're getting the results you're getting, why maybe you're not where you want to be just right this second, and how to close the gap. So that's what I specialize in. So I want to thank you all for being here. For those of you who've maybe never met me, my name is Kim Calvert, and I'm a high performance mentor working alongside Bob Proctor, who's the lead expert in human performance and development. So I'm his number one, teaching people a scientific process that has completely changed my life. Hence why I'm so persistent in wanting to share this with you guys. There's no cost to this. And over the next 5 days, I'm really going to break down my understanding and the science of how to quantum leap your goals, even if you're in a lockdown situation. You may be travel, or you may be following us from all over the world, or perhaps maybe you are right here in Northern Ireland where I'm based, but we do have such a global audience, and I don't know what the situation is with you. I don't know what's going on in your life. I don't even know you. I don't know what you want, but there is always one common thing that people want in life, and that's freedom. And that's what the Freedom Series is all about. This is going to be a series of different topics that I'm going to break down over the next whatever time that we have. And I'm going to really bring you these 5 days in different bouts so that you can start to really change your mindset so that you can create freedom in your life. Now, as I say, freedom to everybody looks different. So no matter where you're from, no matter where you come from, what you've been through, what your story is, it really doesn't matter. And this is what I love about this material. I love working with my clients from all over the world in all different industries. Some people know what they want. Some people haven't a clue what they want. But again, the common denominator is we want more freedom of time. We want more freedom of finances. We want more mental freedom so that we can start to really have energy, have clarity, have understanding, and achieve goals. Now, I'm going to guess that since you are here and you've persisted with me trying to get on live, it tells me that you want something and you want more in your life, and that's okay. Now, we're not necessarily brought up to believe that that is an okay thing, but it is if you have the understanding that it's nothing about, wanting to have everything and taking it away from others. And I think that's where the premise of lack mentality comes from. We think that if we take our share, we're taking it away from other people. And that's why some of the times, and I certainly did many, many years, I always put people ahead of me, in front of me. And actually, there was never any need to do that if I really understood that there's no lack. Now, this might be a totally new thought process for you. And depending on what's going on for you in your life right now, you might struggle to kind of go, but Kim, there is lack. Your business may have completely dissolved, or perhaps you're on furlough and you don't know where you're going. Either way, you are potentially at a crossroads. Now, my honest opinion is that everybody is at a crossroads. I truly believe that we are moving into a new era, a new way of living, a new economy. And I truly believe that everybody needs to change. Okay. And change is not a bad thing. All right. The rule of thumb really is people don't like being changed, but they don't mind changing. Okay. You can't force people to do anything. All right. So now that we are moving into this new world, I believe that everybody has got to adopt a new mindset, because the way of acting, behaving, making decisions, all of your habits that may have served you last year are just simply not going to work in this new world that we're moving into. Everything is online. I'm so used with speaking in hotels and getting to meet you wonderful people, but We have to adapt, we have to pivot, we have to change. And I believe that it's everyone, not just people who, maybe their entire business has completely changed. I believe it's for everyone, successful or not successful. Because any successful person that says, I've got it sorted, I know what I'm all about, I know what I'm doing, they probably don't know as much as what you think. See, I truly believe that you should always be a student. You should always be embracing change and learning and leaning into difficult times. If you speak to anybody right now, whether it's a neighbor, whether it's family members, there is a conversation going on right now that really could lead you down a very negative spiral. Now, I'm not saying that, the world isn't in a pandemic. It absolutely is. But you've got to decide what's happening in your world from the outset. I did a series in the very first kind of lockdown, and it really helped people start to calm the mind down and become creative. We've seen clients all over the world quantum leap their results in such a small amount of time when quote unquote things are more difficult. But it's because they changed their attitude. And this freedom series is to help you start to make the most of this time. Start to really go, what is it that I truly want? How can you find the opportunity in what is going on in your life right now? That's what I want to help you this week. Now, as we say, it is all about quantum leaps. And quantum leaps is when you want an explosive jump in your results being finances, relationships, health, wealth, all of that. Okay, your results are what you get in life, all right? And your results are a direct reflection to how you've been thinking. If you study any science around the mind or theology, they all agree that we become what we think about. So we've really got to ask ourselves, what am I thinking about? Where am I allowing my mind to be and focus on? Because what you focus on always expands. Always. You give energy to anything, it will grow. So we've really got to ask ourselves, am I placing my attention and focus on situations that I want to grow? Maybe difficulties right now you have with finances, or perhaps you're struggling in a marriage or a relationship or your health. Well, the key is that we can only afford, literally, to give a positive thought towards that thing. Because no matter what you give energy to, whether it's a negative energy or a positive energy, it is going to grow and expand and give you more of it. So what we want to show you over these 5 days is how you can use this time that you've got right now. And even if you think you're super busy, which I hear a lot, you've got to realize that you still only have the same amount of time, 24 hours in a day. So I just want you to be committed to showing up every day for 1 hour. And I promise we'll be on time tomorrow. And you give it your all, give it your attention. If you're listening while at work, or maybe you're at home homeschooling, spend this time, bring your kids. This is the best education that they'll ever get. Because in school, we're not taught how to make money. We're not taught how to make decisions. We're not taught to dream big and go after what we really want. We're not taught these things, and yet they're the most important things to know for life essentials, and yet we're never taught them. Instead of making decisions, we do what our parents wanted us to do. We do what our family want us to do, and we never put ourselves first. And that, when you move in a direction of not doing what you want to do, but keeping other people happy, then you're not fully present. You're not fully going to grow. Okay, so today what I really want to focus on is day 1 of the Freedom Series. Now, we've got lots going on over the next 5 days, and I will be here every single day for 5 days. All right, so today is all about freedom is a mindset. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about your purpose. Now, I suppose my kind of idea of what these next 5 days are going to do for you is I have broken down what Bob's taught me and what I've been teaching my clients for the last 4.5 years. It's a process. It's a scientific step-by-step process that works. And it works because what we do is we get to the root cause of your results. Maybe you find yourself firefighting. Maybe you find yourself kind of spinning a lot of plates right now. And ultimately, that is going to lead to burnout. It's going to lead to you just kind of waking up every day, getting into the go of it. And, sometimes we fall prey to that where we then don't even want to stop in case it all crashes around us. Well, I want you to realize that I've designed every day this week to layer one upon the other so that you can have an absolute clear understanding of how your mind works, what is mindset, how do we use it and leverage it to perform at a higher level. We've got to figure out what it is that you want. What is your purpose? Why are you here? Do you have a working goal? Have you got a plan? That's going to be tomorrow's content. Then on day 3, we've got success is a habit. See, what we've got to realize is we're operating out of autopilot. 96 to 98% of everything we do is on automatic. That means that our habits and our beliefs are really controlling our life. Now, if you've got great habits and great beliefs, then that's absolutely brilliant. But if you've got some habits, maybe procrastinating, maybe starting things and never finishing them, or maybe you have a habit of thought, of running yourself down. There could be 99 things go right, but you see the one thing. Whatever your habits are, whatever your beliefs are, maybe you feel you don't have the confidence to really be at that crossroads right now and go for what it is that you want. But those are the exact things that are controlling your results right now. Your results, no matter what they are, good, bad, or indifferent, and I really don't mind, makes no odds what your results are. It's about what you're creating. But we've got to look at your results now to assess. And this system that I'm going to teach you works for somebody who's on £10,000 a month or 10,000 a year or 100,000 a month or 100,000 a year. This is the most exciting part of what we teach. And why I'm so passionate about it is because I never thought I was anybody. I think I'm somebody now, but not in an egotistical way, but in a way of I've now created who I am. And that's part of why I'm so passionate of sharing and creating these things for you to really learn material that likely you'll never come across. Maybe you've done personal development before. Maybe you read the books. Maybe you're watching on YouTube or you've got every podcast under the sun. None of that matters unless you're applying it, unless you are integrating it with your habits and your beliefs. And that's what happens. We get frustrated. We get confused. But Kim, I'm doing this and Kim, I'm doing that. Yeah, but nothing is changing. Why? Well, it's because when we consciously think of doing something, that is actually only 2 to 4% affecting what we actually do. So I'm sure you've had lots of times like a tug of war in your mind. You want to do something, but you're not sure. You've got all these great ideas of what you could, quantum leap and create, but you've also got some reservations. And I get that. I totally understand it. It makes complete sense. But I want to tell you a story of just 4.5 years ago where I was, so that you can actually realize, well, do you know what? If she can do it, a girl from Northern Ireland, then I can do it. And this is why I want to share this with you, because I believe that you right now sitting here are here for a reason. You're searching for something, or you wouldn't be spending this hour with me. So you're wanting something more. And that's the only thing that you need. That is the only prerequisite to making a decision to do anything, that you want it. Now, for me, 4.5 years ago, I was a nurse. I was working in the NHS here in Northern Ireland, and I was doing great. I was at a very high level in my nursing career. I was a band 7. I had my own caseload. I had my own office. I only worked 9 to 5. But I don't know about you, but there was days where I struggled to get out of bed. There was days where I went into my office and I did look around me and look out the window and go, is this it? Is this what my life is all about? Now, you can imagine the other thoughts that go through your head. You're a mental health nurse working with children and adolescents in psychiatry. How did you dare think there's more, bigger, better stuff for you? Don't you realize what great work you're doing? Now, that went through my head quite a lot. Who am I to want more? I have a good, secure government job. I have a pension. Mom and dad are proud, got good friends. I'm doing okay. But was I really? Are you really doing okay when you keep saying you're fine? And the answer was no, I wasn't okay. There was other areas in my life. Yeah, work was good, but my personal life was rubbish. My health was poor. My relationships were diabolical. In fact, I was in a toxic relationship at the time, but I couldn't see it. Now I can look back and be actually grateful for that because it has taught me so many lessons about me. But at the time, I was financially broke, I was spiritually broke, I was emotionally broke, and I was physically broke. And that right now, those things that I hear more and more every day as I speak to people just like you, this has now become the new norm. And I just don't accept that. I do not accept that we have to settle in life. I do not accept that we just go to school, get a good education, and, settle down and that's it. I don't believe that's what life's about. I don't think you believe that's what life's about. Life is about living. Life is about working on purpose. Life is about giving more, being more. It's not about doing more. We're human beings and we forget that sometimes. And maybe you've found yourself, you made promises to yourself just literally a few weeks ago that things are going to be different. You were going to keep your head above the water and you're not going to get involved in things that don't involve you and all the rest of these promises that we make. But it doesn't always work out that way. Okay, maybe you've stuck to it and I'm so happy for you. But majority of people, in fact, 97% of the population are not moving in a direction that they really want to move in. Now, that's a pretty scary statistic. And yet it's been shown over and over and over and over again. So I want you to really ask yourself, are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? Are you finally ready to find an easier way? Get clear, get order, and start moving in a direction that you feel fulfilled, you feel happy, you feel secure. You see, this whole freedom series is to really help you understand that the only freedom you're ever going to have is the freedom of your own mind, because mind creates everything. There is no freedom in a job. There's no security in a job. And that's not really a good or a bad thing. It just is what it is. As we can see right now, jobs can go like that. Businesses can go like that. Now, if you are depending your happiness, your consistent flow of money, your support in something outside of yourself that could just disappear like that, you're not going to feel great. You're going to have worries. You're going to have doubts. You're always going to be worrying about the future, which causes anxiety, or perhaps you're holding on to the past, which causes depression. What I want to bring you good news today is that it's only ever now. Now is the time that you can step into your power. Now, and when I talk about now, I'm talking about 28 minutes past 12. You see, in every second, it's only now. And this is a bit of a kind of a mental brain teaser to get your head around. And what we've got to realize, and what I'm going to teach you, is that in every second that you're thinking, and you're always thinking, that is having an effect. Every single thought you have goes out into the universe and makes an effect, and will over time show up into your life. Now, if that's a brand new concept to you, be excited about it. Be open-minded about it. Because if you are sitting on here and you're already maybe thinking, okay, I don't know if I can buy into this, just sit and listen. You don't have to believe anything I say, but you should, because until you can prove I'm wrong or science is wrong, like this is quantum physics, then I would listen, because that's what I did. 4.5 years ago, I was sitting in that office and it was just not what I wanted. I wasn't happy. And you know what? It wasn't the money I wanted. It wasn't the house. It wasn't the car. Things do not bring happiness. Now, I'm not saying that you can't have the things. This is the beautiful part about what we teach. Imagine being happy, fulfilled, knowing your purpose, feeling energetic, having great relationships, and having money, and having things. You see, I've come across a lot of people in the last couple of years, and it seems to be that, well, you can't have it all. You can't have this and have that. They pick one or two. A lot of people we see that are really successful in business, then things deteriorate at home or vice versa. So I want to show you a proven system that will help you create it all. Because the same potential that lives in you, that lives in me, that lives in Bob Proctor, that lives in Elon Musk, that lives in Warren Buffett, it's the exact same energy that is flowing into your mind right now. So mindset is key, because success in life, in anything, is always 95% mindset, 5% strategy. I want you to write that down, because you're going to keep reminding yourself success in anything. And by the way, if you want to understand what success is not how much money you have or, the things. Success, by definition of Earl Nightingale, is when you are moving in the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So when you're moving towards your goal, when you wake up every day with purpose, with enthusiasm to go out and create or serve or do whatever it is that you do, then that's when you're a successful person. Not when you have X amount in your bank, not when you're driving this car. By definition, you're a success if you're moving towards your goal. So this is why it's so important to have a goal, because if you don't have a goal, you're just like a leaf blowing in the wind. Okay. Now that's what we're going to focus on tomorrow, today's session. And we're going to be here for an hour every single day. But today is all about the first part of this series, and that is that freedom is a mindset. So today I want to talk mostly about the mind. Then as the days roll on, we're going to be able to carve that out and really give you then structure of what to do, because it's going to be about application. You're not going to be a multimillionaire by the end of day 5. I'm sorry. Okay. But you can be if you apply the information. And that's really the critical. So by the end of these 5 days, you're going to know what decisions to make. You're going to know what is the next best move for you. You're going to know some things you got to change, and realize that if you want change in your life, you've got to change. All right. But you don't have to do it alone. And that's what I did. When I was at that rock bottom place, I couldn't speak to my family because, you're a good nurse, pension, government job, don't muck it up. Couldn't talk to my friends because my friends were all doing the same thing. And that's what we've got to realize. The people we hang around are always going to be a bit of a reflection of who we are. So I was having these very weird thoughts. I had this feeling deep in my stomach. I'll never forget it. And then it moved to my throat. And I just knew there's more. There has to be more. It was almost like I could feel it, but I couldn't taste it. I couldn't touch it. I couldn't smell it. I couldn't see it. My senses, which is how we are conditioned to live through, were not picking this up, but something else was picking it up. And that was my heart. That was my intuition. When you get a gut feeling about something and you just know, but then we go and do something else and we go, why did I even do that? Because I knew. This is what we're talking about. Imagine you could tap into your intuition every day and be guided to do the exact thing that is going to get you to where you want to go. Find the path of least resistance, an easier way, a smarter way of working. See, what we're all about in our company is helping individuals, whether you're business owners, entrepreneurs, or you just want to go after a goal of any description, could be sports, could be health. The key is that you can have anything you want if you can see it in your mind. When you start to understand the mind creates everything, you can reverse engineer from any goal. It's absolutely incredible. So that's what I did. But it took courage. And you know what? Courage is something that you just have to sometimes go for it. You have to trust your intuition. But in order to hear the little voice within, we have got to slow everything down first. If you want to work less and earn more, turn your annual income into a monthly income. Like that might just completely blow your mind. I remember the first time I heard that. I was on a call and there was Bob Proctor saying to me, Kim, you earn $35,000 a year as a nurse. I could teach you how to earn that in a month, and you could have more time to spend with your friends, your family, travel more, go places, live in your dream home, buy your dream car. And I was sitting going, what a sales pitch. Sitting going, I mean, he doesn't understand. I'm from Northern Ireland. That sort of stuff doesn't happen. That's in America. Now, that was how ignorant I was. And that's only like 4.5, 5 years ago. Totally ignorant. I only knew what I knew. I was brought up to believe you got to work hard. You got to put in the hours. You've got to be smart, get good grades. And when you do that, you'll be a successful person. I did that. I was broke. Now, again, if you're anything like my mum, how could you be broke? You're a nurse. Well, I'm sorry. It just doesn't quite cut it. And when we talk about earning money, when we talk about having freedom, freedom is all about choices. Freedom is not about you've got so much time to have a holiday and this much of a budget. Where do you want to go? That's not freedom. You want to go to the places you want to go. Maybe not right now, but soon. You want to treat your kids to a trip to Disney and not have to stress and worry all year or work extra shifts. That's not living. That's simply kind of surviving. And I mean, sometimes people can get annoyed at me when I say these things, but I'm literally here fighting your corner because I know it's possible. I've done it. And the very day that I kind of made the decision, and there'll be a point in your life where you just go, that's it, enough is enough. I am done with this. And you know what? I don't want you to get to that place, but if you have to get to that place, it will happen. Okay. And for me, I was in a pet shop and I couldn't afford dog food. Here is a highly educated Queen's University student nursing, and I had £4.20 in my pocket and couldn't afford my 2 Jack Russells, some dog food. Now, don't panic. They're still alive, probably overweight right now. But the point was, that was the light bulb moment where I went, this is not working. I didn't have freedom. I was a mental health nurse, and honestly, I didn't even understand the mind. But then when I started to look, because this is what happens. See, when you start to have thoughts of wanting to change, wanting to create something new, the universe will kind of line things up for you. Here you go. It's like a conveyor belt. The problem is, if you miss the opportunities, then you miss the opportunities. And what I believe is that in every struggle, in every crisis, there's always an opportunity. There's always two sides to a coin. If something is bad, it must also be good. If there's a problem in life, there must also be a solution. Why? This is called the law of polarity. It states that everything in this universe has an opposite. So where you are right now, if you are feeling that you're in a fixed mindset, that you are feeling that there's more lack in your life than what you would like, then know that by universal law, there must be abundance. But it all depends on what you focus on. It all depends in the type of mindset you have. The way I describe mindset, and I'm very simple, laid back type of person. I want to explain things simply. I don't complicate them. And the way I think of it is there's this energy that flows into us every day. It's consciousness. And depending on how your mindset is set, if you even understand what is the set that you have, you've got 6 higher mental faculties, 6 mental muscles. I was never taught about them. But when you start to learn how to use them, and you're always using them, but most of the time we're using them against us, that's when life starts to get better. I decided 4.5 years ago, I got to do something because my way is not working. Now, at that time, I had no money at all. I sold my car just to get a little bit of money to go towards my education. But better than education, it was awareness. See, education isn't about gathering more information. When we go to school, we gather information and it sits in our consciousness. But we don't always do what we know how to do. Like right now in your life, wherever you're at, I know that you can probably agree with me and say, yeah, I already know how to do better in my relationship. I already know how better to, eat more healthier, train. You already know so much that would improve your life. The problem is you don't do what you know how to do. And I think you'd agree. There's nobody watching, like literally, there's nobody watching me right now. And we're streaming to hundreds and hundreds of people that cannot say, yes, I could do 1% better. So my question to you is, why don't you? And when we don't have a great answer for that, and there's lots of answers, but none of them are really correct. We could say, well, I didn't have the time, but that doesn't make sense either, because we all get the same amount of time and we all get different results in life. You see, the common denominator is we are all the same at a very deep spiritual fundamental level. We're all energy, but how we express that energy is different. Now, to really get that to make sense in your mind, the way you got to think of it is, I could plug a toaster into a socket. I could plug a light into the socket. I could plug this camera into a socket. The same energy that comes out of the wall is expressed through these different instruments and provide different effects, different results. One makes toast, one produces light, and one allows me to record. They're all coming from the same power source. And so are we. And this is the bit that gets very exciting. I didn't know any of that. I thought there was something wrong with me. I absolutely, to be honest, hated myself for many, many years. I picked at myself. I thought I wasn't good enough. I was worried about what other people would think of me. I mean, I wouldn't have even looked at you in the eyes if I'd have met you on the street. Bob often, very often, shall I say, winds me up about this. In fact, he could be live speaking to audiences of hundreds and he will go, I remember when I met you, Kim, I didn't think you were going to make it happen. But so what happened? Well, I found a process. I started to rethink and I started to take more actions based on what I wanted rather than just going with what my logical mind was always saying. See, logic is not always your best friend. I know there's some things you want to pounce on and go for, but you're scared. And fear holds us back a lot of the times. So when you start to understand what fear is and how you can turn it into faith, you can advance in the pursuit of your goal with a knowingness. Imagine going into your business or starting your company or whatever it is that you want to do, knowing that you're going to get consistent, abundant results month after month. I didn't believe it at the start. But when Bob Proctor taught me the exact process, then my life started to change. I didn't get any smarter. I certainly didn't get any bigger. I'm very short. The only thing that changed was my outlook on life. So it's mindset that really matters. I was able to go from £4.20 to now running multiple companies, some at 6 figures, some at 7 figures. But I'm still me. I give myself permission to think. I give myself permission to dream. But first, I always wanted to know how things work. So firstly, I had to start to understand, how do I use the tools that I've already been given? You will often hear, especially if you're in the kind of personal development world, the answers are within, or the giant lives within. Whatever way it's put, it basically means we have all the ability right here on the present. The problem is we're not aware of it. So today, what I want to do with you guys for the last kind of 15 minutes is run through 4 essential A's. Okay, we're going to talk about awareness. We're going to talk about attitude. We're going to talk about alignment, and we're going to talk about action. So write those 4 down, because this is going to be critical to setting up a mindset that is going to work for you rather than against you. Okay. And what I'm going to do for that is I'm going to share my screen so that we can really get you clarity, because that's what today is all about. Clarity and understanding how you can start to create more by actually working less. That is the beautiful part about this. So here's my whiteboard. You should be able to see that. And essentially what I'm going to do is we're going to talk about our first A, and this is awareness. Now, if you were to ask somebody on the street, what does awareness mean? Not many people know. Okay, again, not a topic that we're really taught about in school, but awareness is essential. Dependent on your level of conscious awareness is going to depend the quality of your life. So if you're looking freedom, if you're wanting choices, if you want to, and I'm not saying you want 7 figures, I'm not saying you want millions. I don't think the money's got anything to do with it. Happiness, fulfillment, when you get into that area, money's a byproduct. But you've got to become aware of that first. A lot of people are chasing money or chasing things or chasing titles or chasing validation. And you probably know, because I've done it, I've chased it before. You get there and nothing really changes. And you're right back to square one. So awareness is the key. Now, awareness is essentially there to really guide you and help you know who you are. Are you aware of who you are? Now, to give you a bit of an idea so that you can really see this in your mind, today, all I want to do is break down so that you can understand who you are and how your mind works. Over the next 5 days, we'll take that much deeper. So I want you to ask yourself, are you aware of how your results are happening in your life? Because that's what we're here to talk about, results. If you want a quantum leap, it's not about the next incremental step. It's about an explosive leap. Like what I've went through, like what all of my clients, hundreds and hundreds of people right across the world are doing. People in this country are doing. Okay. So first thing you've got to ask yourself is, do you understand what the mind is? If I said to you, what is the mind? What would you say? Now, a lot of people can say the brain, or well, I mainly hear the brain. So think about the image that comes up in your mind when I say mind. Some people say fuzzy images, blackness. The thing is, when I say what is the mind, why do we get so many different answers? They can't all be right. So the key is you've got to decide, what is your concept of the mind? How do you understand it? And you're never going to know until you study it. So I started to study the mind because I started to understand that my results in life, my money, my relationships, my health, everything about me, everything I experience in life was a direct reflection to how I think. So I wanted to get to the root cause so I could create permanent change. And then Bob Proctor helped me get order in my mind by explaining the mind to me. So that's what I want to give you today. Now, this large circle that you can see on the screen, okay, this one here, this is the mind. This one down here is the body. Okay, now you might ask, why is the body so much smaller? And it's simply because the mind controls the body. Now, for today, what we're going to do is explain this in 2 parts. Now, there's lots of different parts to the mind, but you really only need to understand 2. And those 2 are the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. Okay, those are the 2 parts of your mind. You've perhaps heard about them. Now, what makes those 2 parts different? That's what's critical here. Now, let's deal with the conscious first. The conscious has got 5 senses. You have 5 senses. Okay, so I'm drawing you right now. And we've got sight, hearing, taste, touch, and smell. Now, you live through those senses. You gather information with those senses. You make decisions on those senses. But those senses are sometimes not serving you. And this is what we're going to explain. Now, the conscious mind, the other thing to think about is this is where your thoughts reside. Okay? The subconscious part of your mind is totally different because that is where the heart sits. And this is the emotional mind. Okay? Now, thoughts, feelings, or emotions, we'll put feelings there so that makes total sense for you. And then we go out and we take action, behaviors. Now, that's a very basic model, thoughts, feelings, and actions. Then we get results. And results are out here on a physical plane. Okay, you've got results. So think about the amount of money you earn. Think about the results you're getting in your health, your relationships, all of that kind of stuff. And really ask yourself, how did these results happen? Now, what I'm sharing with you is that thoughts turn into things. But I mean, we weren't taught that. So that's kind of sometimes hard to buy. But when you actually break it down and you look at quantum physics, you start to be able to see a pattern. And also you can see patterns in your life that are going to back this up. Now, what I've also said is everything you think about, you create. So what happens is we have thoughts on a conscious level. Now, your consciousness only controls 2 to 4% of what really happens out here in your behavior. What really controls your behavior and your actions is the subconscious. And that controls 96 to 98% of everything that you do. As you can see, that is much stronger. And if you want to think of it this way, think of it as autopilot. Like, how many times have you driven down the road and you can't remember getting to your location, but you were there, you drove the car, you changed gear, you indicated, you took over other cars, but you can't even remember it. That's because you were driving in a habitual thinking pattern. You don't think about, standing up and walking anymore. At a baby, when your awareness was lower, that was more difficult for you. But then you became aware of how to walk. You became aware of how to drive a car. Now, when you become aware of how to do something or understand how something works, you gain an understanding. And if you have an understanding, you don't fear the thing. So think about that for a second. If I put you in an aeroplane and asked you to fly the plane, would you be okay with that? Or would you absolutely go crazy because you don't know how to fly a plane? Well, you're not aware of how to fly the plane. And when there is a lack of awareness about anything, earning more money, working less, having more but doing less, all these concepts that I'm sharing with you, they don't really make sense so much because we don't live in that type of a world. That's fantasy. That's the 3%. Yeah, it is the 3%. But when did you consciously decide you were going to be in the 97%? When did you actually make that conscious decision? Can you remember? No. Why can you not remember? Because you just fell into habit. You fell into maybe potentially mass consciousness. And if everybody goes this way, we go that way. I did it too. I'm not getting at you. I did it. I traded my life for what I was doing. I put in the hours. I got out a certain wage. There was no way that I was ever going to get paid more through that employer. But that doesn't mean that I can't get paid more. That doesn't mean that I have to settle. I realized that if I started to change my perceptions, change my habits, and the autopilot that I was working out of, then this would change the outside result. So what happens in life is we have thoughts, we have feelings. That then sends a signal to the body through the central nervous system, and then we act with a type of energy. Now, the energy in which you do anything is going to then bring the same energy back. This is the law of cause and effect. And this is your attitude. Attitude is the composite of your thoughts, feelings, and actions. So the key is we've got to ask right now where you're at and you're looking freedom. You want to change these results. We've got to find out in this chain, in this kind of alignment, where are you blocked? What is holding you back? A lot of people say to me, Kim, I'm the one standing in my own way. And yeah, you potentially are. But isn't that great news? Because it means you're the only person that can step out of the way. But we've got to change the habitual patterns. We've got to change and rewire the subconscious mind, because this in here, where I'm putting the green, is where all your results are coming from. How many times have you thought in your mind, I'm going to get up and go for a walk tomorrow? Tomorrow is the day I'm going to start this healthy living thing. You've thought it in your consciousness. We know that only controls 2 to 4% of what you actually do. Then you go to bed that night. You wake up the next morning, the alarm's blurring. Do you think you're going to go with the 2 to 4%, which says you should go for that walk? Or do you find that the little voice inside goes, oh, no, sure, it's raining. Today is not a great day. Sure, you walked yesterday, give yourself a rest. We start to rationalize why we should stay where we stay. It's the same as if you wanted to start something, if you wanted to really finally take your idea and run with it. Problem is, you have all the great ideas, but maybe you procrastinate. Your habit is to stay where you are. And since that's controlling 96 to 98% of everything you do, then the results just keep staying the same. And then do you know what happens? We use our senses. There's sight. You can now see that your results are not where you want them to be. You can see the evidence of why you're stuck or why you're not where you want to be. Or maybe you feel that you've hit a financial ceiling and you just can't break through it no matter how much work you put in. You're putting in all this action. But you're not seeing a significant change in the bottom line. And we keep taking the action because we're programmed to. We keep getting the same results that we don't want. And because we see it with our eyes, that makes us have a negative thought. Look at my bank account. It's empty. Maybe you're picking up other people's moods at the moment or reactions. And you're having a negative thought because you're looking at the outside result, whatever that may be. That thought, and this is how this works, that thought turns into a negative feeling. Whether that's, the thought might have been doubt or worry. The feeling is fear. And what you've got to realize is that energy, that fear, is energy and it must move. It can't stay still. We talk about bottling things up and then there's usually a massive reaction and explosion. That's because all this energy is inside of us. This is why a lot of people get sick. That's why a lot of people start to have back problems, stomach problems, loads of issues I could name off. And it's all been because of stress, worry, doubt, fear, lack of confidence. All this stuff that your subconscious mind controls. And that energy flows to the body. And then when you go out and take all that action that you've been taking, getting more jobs, putting in extra hours, you're still doing it with this more negative energy. And by the law of cause and effect, you might know it as the law of attraction. Everything that we put out into the universe always comes back equal and opposite. So the energy that I'm going to get back is going to be the same. And that's why this happens. I hope you can really, really resonate with this. What I want you to think about is what habits and beliefs are holding you back. Now, we're going to spend a whole day of that on day 3, I believe. But that's where this is essentially how the mind works. We think, we feel, and then we act from that feeling. And if we don't change it in here in the subconscious mind, it'll just show up in different areas because we always attract what we are. Now, the last little drawing I want to show you just before we go for today is that I explained that your mind is energy. And I want you to realize, and you can go and look this up, energy operates on little frequency waves, okay? So if you turn on your radio and you go to a certain frequency wave, you will hear the music that is on that frequency wave. If I tune in here, let's say to Cool FM, I will hear Cool FM music. If I wanted to hear classical, I can't be on a Cool FM frequency wave and hear classical music. I would have to move and tune into a different frequency. Think about that. I think you'll agree with all of that because we've done it, okay? But this is the fun stuff. This is where your mind can start to create your results because our mind is energy, okay? This mind, there's an energy, and we'll go into this deeper tomorrow, but there's an energy that's flowing into your mind, and depending on how your mind is set, that will show what you express. What you express will be coming back to you. That's why your results are a direct reflection to your habits and your beliefs and everything that's programmed in at a subconscious level. And by the way, guys, you didn't even create all that. That comes from generations, and it comes from environment. But we'll talk about that in day 3. So mind is energy. Your emotional mind is energy in motion. So we talked about this feeling. It has to move somewhere. Why? Because a feeling is energy. You could also call it a vibration. Vibration is just a fancy word for when you're consciously aware of the feeling that you're having. So if you're in a bad mood and you're angry, then you're consciously aware that you're in a low vibration. Okay? But you don't have to talk like that. Don't worry. You just say, I feel rubbish. Now, on this scale, there is minus and there is plus in this world. When we deal with energy, you look at a battery, there's a plus and a minus sign. Everything that deals with energy, there's a plus and a negative. And our mind, since it's energy, we can either think positively or negatively. We can either have abundance in our life or we can have lack in our life. You can never have both at the same time. You can't be abundant, like you can't have prosperous thoughts and have lack and debt in your bank account. You can't have lack and limiting thoughts and have a lot of money in your bank account. The two things have got to be in alignment. That was the other A. So you've got to have awareness. You've got to have a good attitude, have the right thoughts, the right feelings, take the right actions. And then you got to have alignment. You got to focus on what you want. So on this scale, you are somewhere. So let's just say you're here and you're operating on this frequency, and this is getting you these results. And no matter how hard you work, no matter what you try, you keep getting the same results. So the key really is we've got to start to think about what we really want. And that's what we're going to talk about tomorrow. Because if you want to know, because the big question that I get asked all the time is, how do I do it? I mean, this is all great, Kim, and you're inspiring us and it's brilliant, but what do I do? It's very simple. You change your thinking and your results change. I'm going to tomorrow show you how to think on a higher frequency. Because when you start to think from the place of your goal, when you start to think like the person you know you really are, because I know that you know you're capable of more. I know that you would agree that whatever you earn a year, you know you're worth more. So I want to show you how to achieve what it is you want. And maybe some of you tomorrow will have to decide what that is. But when you tune your mind into a higher frequency, you start to attract the thoughts, the people, the money, whatever it is that you need to the fulfillment of your goal. And that's all that I did, guys. I flipped my mind from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. I started to change the way that I viewed the world. And that's all attitude. And I want you to realize today that the way you view the world is the way the world views you. The lens in which we view the world is going to show up what we want, because there is good and there is bad. And it's up to us to decide what side of the coin am I going to focus on. Right now, you're maybe, there's been a lot of change in your life and we don't like that. It's very disrupting. Do you know why we don't like that? Because we are so conditioned to do things the way we've always done them. And then when the kids get off school and we're told to stay at home, well, we don't have the same patterns. We don't have the same habits. And it all kind of goes up the left sometimes. I don't want you to be living in a reactionary state. I want you to start to understand the mind this week so that you can respond. When you respond, you hold on to your power. You start to think. And that's when you become a conscious creator. That's when you're really in control of your life. Like, you can't control anything that's going on outside of you. You can't control the schools. You can't control the government. You can't control the pandemic. So don't bother. A lot of people are wasting their time talking about how awful things are, when actually that's not actually helping the situation. The only thing that you want to be responsible for right now is you. and the energy that you're projecting out to the world, because that energy is having a huge compound effect. Huge. I have no doubt in my mind that is making everything that is worse, because the fear in people's minds, we're all putting that into the world. And I really believe that all of us together can create the most incredible results this year. But you've got to want it. You've got to be open-minded. You've got to be willing to actually start to change your model of thinking. The way you worked last year, the strategies that you've perhaps relied on year after year are just not going to work. But that's okay, because this week we're going to show you how everything works so that you can actually create, but create on your terms, not on anybody else's. I don't want you to have to ask permission. I don't want you to have to, limit yourself because of what you think you're capable of doing. Every single person watching this today is capable of more than you'll ever even achieve in this lifetime. And I truly believe that it's not in the getting of the things that we find fulfillment and happiness. It's in the growth that is attached, in the development of us. You don't need to know anymore. You don't need any more education. You don't need to be better at different things. You just need to believe in you, and you need to have a structure and a plan and understand how results happen in this universe. And that's what we're going to break down over the next 5 days. So I hope today that this has brought you some awareness, helped you understand that it's your attitude that is creating your results in life. And then when you align to what you want, which is what we're going to talk about tomorrow, and you start to think like the person you want to become, have habits and beliefs like the person you want to become, and then you go out and take action. And action is where it really it happens. But if you don't do this mindset work and you don't align yourself to think like the person you want to become, you simply won't. All right. So I hope you've enjoyed day 1 of the Freedom series. Freedom is a mindset. Go and watch this many times. I'm going to submit some great things for you to work on tonight. There's an article called Calmness, and it's through James Allen, Serenity. You're going to love that. Read that through, because right now, if you're feeling frantic, I need you to come tomorrow, give yourself the hour, put yourself into a place where nobody's annoying you if you can, because this 1 hour is going to make such an impact on helping you move forward at a much more rapid pace, but without all of the drama. Okay, that's my goal for you this week. So join us in the Dynamite Effect if you haven't already. If you're watching here in the portal, all your videos and links. If you are watching in the Dynamite Effect and you want to get your hands on today's kind of giveaways, I'm going to be giving out an article, as I've just mentioned, for you to study. You're also going to get a meditation from Bob, which I have put into the portal. And also, there was something else. What was it? Can't remember, but I'll come back to you and find out. There's another PDF for you. So check the portal. If you're in the Dynamite Effect and you're watching and you haven't already got your login for the Freedom Series portal, please go now, find the link on the Dynamite Effect page, register, because that's where we're going to house all of these videos. These videos will not be staying up in the Dynamite Effect. All right. So get your login. I will see you all tomorrow. And I'm excited to take you on a journey tomorrow of discovering your purpose and finally making a plan that can get you to where you want to be. All right. Have a wonderful day, guys. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.